Good evening to one and all. Myself, Duvjasai Sri from grade 5, studying in one of the knowledge-based, skill-oriented Samskar the Life School. I feel proud to be a Samskarian. My journey with Samskar family is from class 3. My hobbies are dancing, singing and drawing. Incidentally, today happens to be the birthday of our loving Vamshi sir, the founder of Samskar the Life School. On behalf of my entire school, I wholeheartedly wish him a very happy birthday. We are all thankful for starting such a creative school. I'm very happy to be a part of this team and thank my school in all the aspects which allow us to involve in such a great programs and meet great personalities like you, ma'am. We all are extremely fortunate to have with us an eminent nutritionist, Prachi Velumuri ma'am. Prachi ma'am is a wellness expert with over 15 years of experience. Ma'am has been dealing with a wide range of healthcare and nutrition. Ma'am specializes in the areas of preventive health management, healthy weight management, children's growth and health through proper nutrition. My teammates are Sai Punarvita, Faneet, Moksha, and Nihal. They are all waiting with a bated breath to have a very vibrant interaction with you, ma'am. Now over to my teammate Sai Punarvita.
Thank you, Divija, and my school to give this opportunity to me. Namaste, ma'am. I'm Sai Punarvita of grade 5. I have been studying from 4th grade, and my hobbies are drawing, cycling, and swimming. And I'm very proud to be an Samskari. So, ma'am, we are very blessed to have an amazing nutritionist in our Samskar Samvad. We are all very curious to know about your choice of this profession. My friends and viewers are all eager to know about your schooling, your role models, and to know who has motivated you to choose this profession.
Hi, thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Hi, Punarvita. Hi, Divija. Hi, Moksha, Paneet, and Nihal.
Hello, ma'am.
So good to meet all of you. And knowing that you are in class 5 and asking me such wonderful questions, it's really a very good privilege for me to be here today. And, thank you for giving me the opportunity, Madhu and Vamsi Garu. So, you asked me a very good question, Punarvita, when you said, why did I choose this profession? If you actually look back, I can actually take 2 steps back and, take you down to my memory lane, So when I was probably your age, sometime in my 8th class, 7th and 8th, that was the time I saw my mother diagnosed with, a disease which needed a lot of, that she had to actually take a lot of treatments and had to undergo a lot of stuff. And when I was closely seeing her go through that, and see the kind of choices that she had to make, because she had a different kind of a cancer, and I saw that every treatment that she went to, I saw how her health was deteriorating. Of course, at one side she was getting treated, but at the other side I saw that she was losing her health. And it was somewhere during that point of time, throughout all those treatments, of course she became better, but then, after a few years from then, it came back again. And then, we lost her. And it was at this point of time, I had a very basic question. I was thinking, do we really have our health in our own control? So that's how it all started. And, it became part of my, somewhere deep inside, I said, hey, I have to do something about this, get to know more about, how can we have our own health in our control? And that's how it led to me this profession. In fact, I chose this as my passion because, it came out of the very small thought that I had during that point of time that I really going through all of that. And, that's how today when I'm part of this profession, I get to meet several people. I get to talk to them. And when I talk to them, I, tell them about the relevance of preventing something before something big happens. And, I always say that prevention is better than cure, right? That's all we have all studied too. You also study the same thing. So, why not nip it at the bud than wait for something big to happen? And nutritional science comes somewhere that it's so very basic that, if you take care of it from the beginning, a lot of things can be averted. So that's how my journey started. And today I'm in this profession. So I hope the answer has been pretty clear, right, Narvita?
Yeah, ma'am, it's so clear. Ma'am, I'm very much inspired by you, and today I really got to know the importance of nutritionists to the society. I hope each and everyone here would have felt the same. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your personal profile with us, which motivated us a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome, Narvita.
Thank you, Punarvita, and thank you so much, ma'am. Now it's the turn of mine. The next teammate Funny to pose his queries.
Namaste, ma'am. This is Fani Zuluri from grade 5. I study in a wonderful school called Samskar. I call this wonderful school because here we learn ethics, ethnicity, along with education. I like being in my school because the school is like my home and the teachers are like my parents. Some of my hobbies are playing games, watching TV, and reading Jennifer Stilton books. I have some doubts on nutrition, and they are when we go to purchase any food items, my mom checks for the nutrition facts like glucose and sodium food. Why is it so important to check this, and what happens if we eat highly concentrated glucose and sodium food?
Fantastic question, Paneet. I liked your hobbies. When you said your hobbies is reading Geronimo Stilton. I have two boys just like you. And my younger one, he loves reading Geronimo Stilton. And yes, that's a very good question which you have asked because, I believe the best thing is to be aware and be educated about how do you pick up something. Like say, just like the way I talk to my boys, the older one is in seventh, the younger one is in fourth. I believe you're all in the same age group. So the first question that I ask them is, see, before you pick up, what you have to do is you have to read out the nutritional information behind and also tell me what is written in the front. So when I ask them about what is the nutrition information, you asked me a very relevant question about glucose and sodium. So glucose here, you don't see it as glucose as per se glucose. You see it as, with different names. So, you have various kinds of sugar. So, when it comes to sodium, it's not exactly sodium. It's basically salt that we are talking about. So it's basically what we're talking about is sugars and salts that you find on a packet of chips or maybe biscuits or maybe pick up, any of these Indian, the other kind of snacks, right? So you pick up any of these processed food, you have to be very careful about what is written behind. First thing that you have to notice is, what does it talk about? Does it have something called trans fats? Although your sugars and salt is extremely important to, understand, the third one which you want to know is the trans fat. You'll always see the word called trans fats, saturated fats. So, three different types of things that we're talking about: your sugar, your salt, and your fats. So anything that you find, it says trans fats, you make sure that you put the chips, pack of chips back into the, shelf. Don't pick it up. Most often than not, you will find a lot of them with this because trans fats, it's very, very dangerous for health. It causes a lot of different cancers. Coming to sugar, what it does is, especially with sugars and salts, the kind of food that is made in such a way that, so that it can remain there for on the shelf for a long time, right? Because it has to be transported, it has to come onto the supermarket or maybe a store beside you. And then when you open it, you pick it up, there's a lot of time which goes by, right? So it is most of the times the salt is added so that, it inhibits any kind of enzymes, meaning what it does is it stops the growth of anything, in germs or anything like that. So therefore they add a lot of salts. Now with extra salt, which we don't require for our body, what happens is, let's say a quick example. Okay. So, salt is something which, as I'm talking about, is very important for your body. but not to the extent of, that you find in all the processed foods. So how do you know? Like, for example, somebody just, I think we were just talking about, right, Paneet, you said you had a, potato curry, right? So when you make a potato curry in your home, if you make it with the skin or without the skin, with the skin, it's much more better because it adds so much of fiber. It adds different kinds of magnesium, different minerals to your, total food. So when you make that in your home, you either bake it or boil it, and that's how you make it, right? But if you were to walk into a place where you get French fries or you get chips, what happens in that? They're actually frying it in oil and adding a lot of sugar onto that. Now, what happens is, especially in your body, what does the sugar do? It actually helps you to transport, it takes care of different fluids in your body. Like you have blood, you have water, you have urine, you have sweat, right? It takes care of all those things inside your body. Now, what does it do? What does the sodium do? It helps you understand something called, you take any kind of, especially there are certain minerals like sodium, which we're talking about, salt. There's another mineral called potassium. So both of them are always together and they always have to be in a good balance in your body, right? So when you're doing that, what happens is minerals like sodium and potassium, they actually get dissolved in water. Okay, so when they get dissolved in water, these minerals, they create something called electric ion charges, right? So it becomes electric in nature. So when it happens, why do we need that? So that, whenever your brain sends, a signal through your nervous system, it sends through electric signals. That is why your salt is required, but not a lot of them. Okay, so your salt and your potassium always have to be in good balance. In your home, when you make, the potassium is high, your salt is low, which is very good. But when you're buying it from a store outside, your salts are too high, your potassium is too low, very, very bad. So therefore, you have to make sure that your salts are almost taken off. Whatever you eat at home and your cooked food is the best, right? As far as sugars are concerned, high amounts of sugar increases a lot of, glucose inside your bloodstream. So have you ever seen this? When you, sprinkle some some sugar water on the ground and just leave it. Have you seen how ants come by and take it? I mean, just taste it and they come by and, they gather there, right? You see that? That's exactly what happens to the blood inside. So there's too much of glucose inside the blood. It goes and harms the other organs. And when it harms the other organs, a lot of bad things start happening. That's why we say, please don't take a lot of high sugars. Even if you take sugars, take it in such a way that you take it the right way, not like the proper sugar, the sugar granules, not that. So we always suggest that take, something like, good, as we say in Hindi, or maybe bellam, right, in Telugu. So that is what will really help you. I hope I've been clear, right, Paneet? Did that help you? So I'm sure you're going to make a good choice when you pick up your
Yes,
packet
ma'am.
next time.
Thank you, ma'am, for highlighting the advantages and disadvantages of glucose and sodium food. It is important for everyone to know this.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am and Faneet. Now over to my next teammate, Moksha.
Thank you, Divija. Now, ma'am, namaste. My name is Moksha. I'm studying in 4th grade in Samskar School. I studied in this school since nursery. I am so proud to become a Samskarian and ask these questions from a nutritionist like you. So, ma'am, my question is, during this pandemic, we're stuck in home, not able to go to school or participate in any games or sports. With this kind of minimum physical activity, what food should we eat made by us?
Hi, Moksha. Thank you. That's a very good question. This is a question which is on top of everybody's mind. So during pandemic, what do I do? How can I exercise? I'm not going outside. What food should I take to, make myself strong, right? So that's very well asked, but the question is right. The answer is right there in your question. It's a pandemic and we're all at home. And yes, right now, as much as possible, we avoid going out. We're at home, ensuring that, because of us or, to us, nothing happens. Now, having said that, this is a great place to be. I call home a laboratory, right? A lot of things can be done here. And you said, what kind of food should I eat? But before food, I'd like, to talk to you about a little bit of exercise too. Although we are stuck up at home, your exercise really matters. And I believe, we are at home, but we all of us have our terraces, right? We all of us can just go up our terraces, ensure that we take that good sun, which comes onto the top of the terrace, right? So that your sun can do so much to your health. It can give you good vitamin D, and not just vitamin D, it can give you a good sunshine, right? Makes our day so much more better with a great sunshine, right?
Yes.
So that is one thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
Second thing is, I'm sure all of you have seen your parents at home, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure most of your parents, almost all of your parents, are also exercising at home, right?
Yeah.
So my suggestion is to be part of that exercise. While they're doing, you can also do along with them. Whether you know it or you don't know it, whatever that you know of, while you're looking at them, you can do those exercises. Now, coming to food, I would say, even today, I would say anything which is made at home, cooked at home, is the best food at home. All right. Having said that, the best way for you, especially kids, is to enjoy a lot of food by actually helping your mom and dad while making food. And I can tell you of my own experience. When I was young, the reason why, till today, even when I pass by through a market, a vegetable market, and I see those colors of different vegetables, and when I was young, I used to go along with my father to pick up vegetables. And it was just the thought of picking it up, going to the market, and talking to all those people who were selling, and then picking up those which is really good quality and coming back. That used to improve my digestive system, not directly, but indirectly. Whenever I look at a vegetable, it really induces a good, I feel that digestive enzymes starting in my own stomach.
Yeah.
And that starts when you touch it, when you hold these vegetables, when you try looking at it, when you wash it, when you clean it, when you cut it. So that starts from there.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to what kind of food to build our immunity, lots of food. Everything that is at home, I want you to eat. So when it comes to that, I don't want you to group into different foods. Like, hey, from this I get a lot of protein, or from this I will get a lot of vitamins, minerals. If you ask me, the way food is in our homes has got everything. So your rice has protein, it has got carbs also, carbohydrates. It has got other vitamins and minerals too. Similarly, your fruits and vegetables as well. So when it comes to building your immunity, make sure that you do a couple of things, right? First is make sure you have all the 3 meals without skipping any of them. Second thing is make sure that you eat at least 2 vegetables and 1 fruit a day. So you're seeing at least 3 different colors of fruits and vegetables in your home every day. Why is colors very important? Because colors, what it means is that, they are special plant compounds. And these special plant compounds give you a very, very special immunity. And what is immunity? Immunity is basically like, say we have the border of our country. To protect our borders, who are standing there? We have the army, right?
Yeah.
So when the army is standing there, right? When the armed forces are standing there, they do not allow any enemy to enter into our system, into our country, right? Similarly, your body is made like that. It's designed by God in such a way, so beautifully, that it has got a system called immune system, wherein it has all these soldiers which are there so that they can fight against any germs, any viruses, any bacteria. Okay, so that's how it is done. So make sure that you eat a lot of greens, a lot of reds, a lot of orange colors, I mean to say, not oranges. So these are very, very basic colors that you want to eat. I'm talking of only in fruits and vegetables that I'm talking of the colors, right? Not in the the colored processed food that you get in packets.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now I know why I should be healthy and why should I eat only homemade food. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Moksha.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Moksha, for spreading smiles. Now over to my last teammate Nihal.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Nihal. I can't hear you. Can anybody hear Nihal, or am I the only one?
No, ma'am, we cannot hear.
No, ma'am. We cannot hear.
I think some technical issue.
Maybe it's the headphones.
Yeah, you can remove the headphones and maybe speak, Nihal. Plug it up, yeah, plug it out.
Ma'am, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, Divya.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Breakfast is considered to be the most important meal from infants to grown-ups. My mom also doesn't allow me to go school enough to attend online classes without having breakfast. I feel you're the right person to tell us the importance of breakfast. I would take it now.
Ma'am, this is actually Nihal's question.
I know.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Sure, Nihal. So we'll answer that for you. So, breakfast is the most important part of your meal. As Nihal said, yes, just like the way his mom does not allow him to even attend school or even attend the online class, I personally also don't allow my own kids to attend any classes without having their breakfast. It's a very important meal. The first thing is because, so, when you had your dinner the last evening, that was like almost a few hours ago, right? If you actually sit down to calculate, it's almost like more than 12 hours. Almost close to 12 to 10 hours, right? So after such a long time, you're actually breaking the fast. That's why it's called breakfast. So, how should your breakfast be? What does your breakfast do? Because that's the first meal of your day, right? So your breakfast actually tells, it helps you to, create energy throughout the whole day, which is why, you start the day with a good meal. And if you ask me, especially the Indian kind of breakfast that we have, it's a complete meal. So if you have your mom who's giving you idli or dosa along with chutney and sambar, along with ghee poured on top of that, or upma, right? Or any of these poha or semia upma, any of this is the best meal that you can have because it provides you all kinds of things. So for any meal that you call is a meal is when you have good amount of fruit, vegetables, good amount of carbohydrates coming maybe from your rice or your atta or your semia or your idli or dosa, any of these. Not just that, the most important thing is good protein, because protein is the one which really helps you to start your day on a good note. What it does, it gives you high energy, it gives you high concentration, it helps you to be very alert. And when you're taking your classes, that is what you need, right? The first time that your teacher tells you anything, you want to capture that. And it all starts because your body is already given that fuel, right? Just like the way you add petrol or diesel to a car, that's exactly how you start your day with a very good breakfast. I hope I've answered you, Nihal. I'm not able to see him. Right? I think we should, yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Nihal. Ma'am, my teammates are ready with the next set of questions.
Thank you,
Great, Divija.
Thank you, Divija. Ma'am, there's a proverb in English: prevention is better than cure. In the present situation, what are the foods which boost our immunity, which should be taken so that we can safeguard ourselves against this pandemic?
Very good question, Punarvita. So, I think all of you are very, very smart kids here. You've got very good set of questions. I hope the answers that are coming out from me are also going to help you and make a change, right? in your everyday activity. So when it comes to food, especially for immunity, I believe what you have to do is you have to take really good amount of protein, good quality of protein. And when I mean by protein, I don't mean, just protein by itself as protein. It's a combination of a lot of other things that I want you to eat. Anything in the morning that is coming out of a packet, right? Like a ready to eat food is something that you want to avoid. Simple things like, hey, I didn't have time, so, let me just make something in 5 minutes and give it to you. No, that is not what we should eat. What we should eat is something which we freshly cook at home. And how can that help? How can you help your mom in doing that in the early morning? You can wake up a little more early, right? And you can help your mom. You can ask them, can I do something so that it can help you make a quick breakfast? So that's something that you want to do. Apart from that, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you eat good amount of fruits, especially fruits which are grown locally here. When I mean by saying local fruits, what I mean by that is not any exotic fruit. You don't have to rush to the market for an exotic fruit which is coming from somewhere from New Zealand or somewhere else, but not from your own place. There is a concept called, from the farms to the table. I hope you have heard about it. Have you heard something like that? From the farm to the table. So as long as the distance between the farm to the table is reduced, it is better. Because what it means is, if I plucked a guava from a farm today, it should be, somebody should have eaten it by tomorrow. It has to be that quick. And that can only be possible when you have farms, when you have fruits growing around your own region. So you want to take those kind of fruits. So guava is very good. It's a very good season for Mossambi, right? You see a lot of Mossambi in the market today. It's the right season for you to consume Mossambi fruits. So today, if you ask me, if you say that, hey, my favorite fruit is only mango, but mango comes only in summers, right? So that means it's not even a seasonal. I mean, that means what I'm trying to say is that you also have to pick up which is a seasonal fruit as well. Locally grown and seasonal fruit. Same way it goes with all your vegetables as well. So every food that you eat has to be around your own area. So today you are in Hyderabad. Say a couple of years from now, when you're going for your higher studies, you're somewhere else in a different place. Whatever is locally grown around is what you want to eat. So that's a very, very important part, because that retains and keeps the vitamins and minerals intact in the food. It's not lost in the transport, right? So those kind of things you want to also ensure, as I was previously saying, do not take anything from the packet food now. Make sure, even if you have to make those pakoris, make them at home. Learn it along with your mom or your dad, and be along and stand in your kitchen, see how things are made. Learn to do that, because the joy in doing it is so high that the next time that you want to make it, you are the first one saying, hey, I want to make it. And the best part about that is, it's being made right in front of your eyes, freshly made is a new mantra. That's what you want to do, especially when it comes to immunity.
I was really worried a lot. Hope everyone is stress free now with the food plan you have suggested us. Thank you a lot, ma'am, for advising for such a wonderful food plan in order to overcome this pandemic situation.
Thank you, Punarvika. While having lunch and dinner, my father insists on fibrous food. Is it so important? If it is, why?
Very good, Paneet. That's a very, very important part of your meal. So when you look at any meal, so let's say your lunch plate today. Okay, all of us had your lunch, right? So when you had your lunch, what was the first thing that you had put? You put it in your plate. What was the first thing you put? Some rice, right? Anybody eats roti also here? It can be a rice or a roti. You've also added some dal to it, right? You've also added some vegetables to it. In the end, you ended up with some curd rice. Am I right? That's how you have done. Now, among all this, when you look at it, whenever you look at any meal, there are a couple of things which are coming in the meal. One is your basic, your rice or roti. It has carbohydrates, but it has other elements also like protein. But your high protein comes from your dal. So if you eat any non-vegetarian like a chicken curry or maybe a mutton curry or a fish curry, it's coming from there as well. And when you look at your vegetables, it has got good vitamin mineral. It has also got good fiber. Have you also seen some places, some people also taking salads along with this, right? You have seen some cucumbers, some onions, some radishes, some beetroot, some carrots, right? Along with, I'm talking of raw ones, along with the meal like this. So anything like that also offers you very good vitamin mineral and most importantly, fiber. And as you said, it is the most important thing of your whole thing because, while growing up, the first thing that you want to know is, I'm sure none of you will be embarrassed or talking about it is, are we going to the morning? Are we making sure that we go into the bathroom in the morning, right? That's very, very important. How does fiber help you? Fiber does help you. So let's say, let's look at it. Have you ever heard the word called scavenger? Okay, scavenging is something where it removes the dirt, it removes something which is unnecessary from the place, right? So when you say in your homes today, if you have to make sure that the floors of the home is clean, what do you use? You use a broomstick, right? So what do you do with the broomstick? You make sure that at all corners it grows and you take off all the dirt, right? So fiber works exactly like that in our digestive system. So are you aware how our digestive system looks, especially your stomach, right? Your small intestine, your large intestine. So how are the large intestine and the small intestine? How do they look? They look like this, right? Right? So if those things have to be cleaned, because when you're cleaning it, it works better, right? Anything works better. So there has to be some element which also makes sure that it cleans all this, right? So your fiber does that activity. So it works just like a broom, the way that we use a broom in our homes. So your fiber works just like that. It cleans it. Now let's take another example. Have you seen your kitchen sink? You have? So kitchen sink is connected to a pipe, right? So if the pipe is clogged, meaning, while washing a lot of, stuff went into it and it gets clogged. So water is not going through. What do you do with that? How do you take care of the pipe then? You flush it, you clean it, right? You use a stick kinds and then you push it through. You ensure that the whole pipe is open and clean, right? When it's open and clean, that's when the water passes through that. Am I right? That's exactly how fiber takes care of all your small intestine and your large intestine. It ensures that it flushes out all the dirty toxins out of your body. So that's how important your fiber is. Right, Fanny?
Ma'am, now we came to know the importance of fiber in food and the role it plays in cleansing the intestines. We will try to add it in our diet as it keeps us healthy. Over to Moksha.
Thank you, Fanny. Yes, ma'am. My second question is, this year I heard from my science teacher talking about balanced diet. I'm curious to know what is a balanced diet from a nutritionist like you.
Very good, Moksha. I mean, all throughout, I think until now, we've been only speaking about balanced diet. Balanced diet is, making sure that everything is added onto your plate and you're eating all varieties. Yes, I agree. While we're all, at your age, even at your age, we become very selective, right? I too was when I was your age. But as and when slowly, you start seeing things, being cooked at your home, once in a while you would want to just taste it and see. So the idea is that, you ensure that everything that is being cooked in your kitchen, you start eating it. Many times I know that, your mom could be cooking some green leafy vegetable, which you might not like. And you might say, hey, no, today, this is not, you give me something else. Make a fry for me, or make something else for me. That happens always. That happens here as well. But then the deal is, along with, probably you can have a little, but then you have to have a little at least. So that is the deal. So slowly, once you're eating, I'm sure you've heard of this something called acquired taste, right? Some tastes are such that you pick it and eat it, you just love it.
Yeah.
Wow, it's sweet. I like sweet. Wow, it's salty. I like it, right? Some tastes are such that first time you might not like it, second time you might not like it, third time you might like a little, fourth time you will like it. So that's what is called acquiring the taste. So when you foods that you're selective about, make sure that you just take a little bit, but make sure that you eat it. Because the idea is, when you have a complete profile of all different types of foods, then you're having the balanced diet. Otherwise, whenever somebody has asked me about balanced diet, I have one question for them. If God was to just make only protein and, one vegetable, something called carbohydrate or vitamin, mineral, why would he make so many varieties, right? Why can't all of them come in just one kinds? Why do we have that many varieties? Because in each of them, we have a lot of different things. And there are also certain elements which do not come under the category of vitamins, minerals, your proteins, carbohydrates. Remember, I was also telling you of something called good fat and also something called colors, right? So if you inculcate all of them in this, then you've had a balanced diet. It also means that how much should I have? So at times I've seen that, when you're making fried vegetables at home, like say you made the potato or you made what is that, lady's finger. Many times all of us like it when it's deeply fried, right? And sometimes when it is crunchy. So how much of it can we have? How much more should we have of what? So if you look at that, the basic principle is that you have your rice, just the amount of rice that you have, the same amount of curry you have. Not little curry and lots of rice. Okay? If you're having a bowl of rice, make sure that you have a bowl of curry as well. You also have a bowl of your dal as well. Okay? And on top of that, since all of you are growing kids, you also need something called good fat. And these good fats come from various different sources. The best thing here in our country is we have something called ghee, right? All of you like ghee? So you should take good amounts of ghee on your food. And you mix it, you eat it, and that's your complete balanced diet.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Nana. Now I'll be so healthy because since I know what is a balanced diet. Thank you.
Thank you, Moksha. Namaste, ma'am. Good evening. Ma'am, and thank you all for giving me this opportunity. Ma'am, my name is Nihal. I live with my family. My father is an engineer and my mother is a homemaker. I am a student of 5th class from Samskara Life School. I have many friends at my school where we study and play together. I love going to school because I learn new things every day. Ma'am, and my hobbies are craft making, reading books, and pencil shading. Ma'am, that's all about me. And ma'am, I have some questions about nutrition, but I never got the chance to ask. But now I have got the chance to ask. Ma'am, my question is, my mom always feeds me with fruits and dry fruits, and I enjoy eating them a lot. But I always had a doubt. What is the best time to eat fruits and dry fruits? Could you please suggest me, ma'am?
Hi Nihal, it's finally good to hear you speaking because we couldn't hear you in the last set of questions. Very happy to hear you. And you just asked a question. I'm sorry, I just missed it. Did you say fruits?
Yes, ma'am. My question is, ma'am, my mom always feeds me with fruits and dry fruits, and I enjoy eating them a lot. But I always had a doubt. What is the best time to eat fruits and dry fruits? Could you please suggest me, ma'am?
Absolutely, Nihal. I'm very happy to hear that you like eating fruits and dry fruits too. So, that's a good combination. And you must eat also. And make sure that you eat every day. The best thing is if you could eat 2 fruits a day, all the more better. Right? And the best time to eat a fruit Yes. So when you're waking up, the first thing that you do is you brush your teeth, right?
Yes.
And there is some time for you to start your online classes. In the
Yeah, ma'am.
meanwhile, yes, in the meanwhile, you can take a fruit. If there is nothing ready. Now, if
Yes,
there is
ma'am.
breakfast ready, you eat the breakfast. Okay? The other
Thank you,
time,
ma'am.
what is the best other time to have your fruits is sometime like 11 o'clock
Yeah, ma'am.
or
Okay, ma'am.
like your 4 o'clock.
Okay, ma'am.
But never do it along with a meal. Take a fruit just like a meal, as if it is a meal by itself.
Yes, ma'am.
And make sure
Thank
that
you.
the fruits. You're welcome, Nehal.
Thank you, ma'am, for telling for thank you, fam, for telling us know the best time to eat fruits and dry fruits. Also, thank you for suggesting me.
You're welcome, Nehal.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, now my teammates are ready with the final set of questions.
Wow, I didn't know I have that many questions. Okay. Yes, Divija.
Thank you, Divija. So my next question is, last question is, I see my grandmother having iron tonic. I was really surprised. Would you please tell us how iron is important for us and which kind of food items are rich in iron?
Absolutely, Punarvita. Iron is a very, very important mineral which is important for your body, for it to function. So if you look at, our body, we have various organs. Yes, but for the organs to get all its food, from where does it get all its air? From where does it get it? It gets it from from your bloodstream, right? So your bloodstream has a certain pigment. Pigment means a color, right? What is the color? Red, right? So for this pigment is why you need iron, because iron helps you to take good amount of oxygen to the cells. So your hemoglobin, we call it the hemoglobin, it's a combination of your iron and your protein. So both together, put together, is very, very important, so that it whatever that gets transported through the blood goes through it. So that's how you need iron. And if you ask me for iron rich foods, the lot of iron rich foods, and one important example here is when there is not enough iron in the body. Let me give you a quick example. Have you seen sometimes at our homes we have a high voltage, we have a low voltage? Have you seen that happen? So when there is a low voltage, matlab when there is low electricity passing by, what happens? You don't see bigger units in our home, like your refrigerator, your washing machine, your grinder, right? They don't work on a low voltage, right? That's exactly what happens when the body does not have enough iron. That means the body is working with very low energy. So sometimes when you feel a lot of tiredness, a lot of fatigue, you feel like, oh my God, I just can't get up and do my work. It all starts because of the low kind of iron food that we are eating. Now, when it comes to what are the different kinds of iron foods, and you look at vegetarian sources, there are a lot of sources. Like, for example, all your green leafy vegetables are a good source, right? Not just that, you also get good iron from different things. Like, have you heard of something called ragi? You drink that ragi malt, it's very good iron. Do you know of papaya? You eat papaya, right? Fruit, it is also very good iron. Do you like all the dates, dry dates, and the other kinds of dates, right? So those also have very good iron. But remember, iron is something, most of the vitamins, minerals that we are talking about, they don't function in your body independently. It's not like, okay, today I've just taken one iron and I'm done with. It's not like that. They all the vitamins, minerals, they all work together like a team. So when they're working like a team, similarly for iron, you need a good team member too. Just like the way all of you are, right? A good team member to Divija today, right? So when you're looking at that, the best thing that you need for an iron is something called vitamin C. Vitamin C helps you to absorb the iron in your body completely. And vitamin C comes from most of all your fruits, if you ask me. Of course, yes, citrus fruits high, but most of the fruits have it. Your guava has it, your gongura leaf has it. A lot of things have it. So the idea is when you're eating everything together and not just one by itself, that togetherness is what will make your body very strong. Just like the way as all of you are a team here together, right? You make a strong team. That's exactly how your body functions.
Oh, really? I got to know the importance of the iron to our body, and I will try to spread awareness to all my friends and whom I know, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity to meeting you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Punarvita. My grandmother always pampers me with food and asks me to eat well. Ma'am, could you please tell me the relation between food and growth?
It's a very, most important question, Panit. Food helps you to grow. And when you say growth, growth in what aspects? As a child, as you are, when you're looking at adults, right? Today you are children today, but few years from now, all of us will grow. When I'm saying grow, it means our bodies will grow, right? The way our face looks also completely changes, right? We go through a lot of changes in our lives. So all these things, for all of that, you need food. Now, food is so like, let me give you a quick example. So I'm sure in your school, in your science right now, you're studying something called cells, right? Are you studying something called cell? CELL? Okay. So I think you will study now going ahead, in the next couple of classes. So cell is what? When you actually when you look at the body, which is the body, from where does it start from? It starts from as small as a small dot. Like say if you put a dot on your finger, take a ball pen and put a dot, a cell could be much more smaller. It's not even visible to our naked eye like this. So when it all starts with that, when you put all the cells together, they form different body parts. Sometimes they form organs. Other times, they also form the way the way your nose is, the way your face is, right? All of that. So basically, when I'm talking of nutrition, meaning what? All the food, they all work at that small level. So at that cellular level, it goes and it functions. So what does it do? So as we grow, right? What do we need when we are growing? Our muscles have to become stronger. Our bones have to become bigger and stronger. The density of the bones have to be so strong that even if I fall, nothing should happen to me, right? Not just that, my organs should function better. My heart should, function better. It is a organ which keeps working all the time. It doesn't take a break at all, right? So for all these things to function better, where is it all coming from? It's all coming from your food. So there's a very big correlation between your food and your growth. And your grandmother said it right. If you eat right, your growth also will be right. So if you have to reach a certain height, of course, nobody can tell you right now, nobody can predict how tall you can become. But with your right eating habits, you can become your tallest. With your eating right, you can actually become the strongest. Tomorrow, somebody that you know of has got a cold. When you are eating right, what happens is your body's immune system, matlab all your soldiers in your body are ready to fight against any disease. They will not allow it to enter inside. So all of that comes from your food only. Body does not make its own food. So food has to be supplied. Matlab it has to come from outside. Which is why the moment you eat, you feel energetic, right? When you drink water, you feel of high energy. When you take any food item, then that's when you feel that, you're alert. You're all the time, you can actually run around, you can play around, right? So that's how it is.
Thank you, ma'am, for explaining me the relation between food and growth and that they are interdependent. From now on, I'll eat well and grow well. Over to Moksha.
Thank you, Paneet. Now, ma'am, my last question is, these days we find youngsters going on crash diets, participating in gyms, and not eating properly, even half of the food. Only a nutritionist like you can tell if this is advisable or not.
Absolutely not advisable, Moksha. Crash diets are no more there. So I'm not too sure from where you heard about crash diets, but at your age, you have to eat as much as possible. Everything that is made at home, say for example, you have a laddu which your mom makes at home, right? Your
Yes.
sununda, or maybe if she's making a chakli or making a peanut laddu, make sure that you have it, and do not have it with any guilt, because all that your mom is making you is very good for your health. And crash diet is originally, when you say diet, actually diet is something which means, okay, what is that you're going to eat, which is you're going to plan it and eat it. But then right now at your age, I think talking about crash diet is too far of a thing that we are talking about. And right now what you should focus on is on complete growth, not just your body growth, your physical growth, but also your mental growth. For that, don't go on to any diets. Eat the best. And as I've been mentioning since the beginning, eat at home. And the best way, if you ask me, my kids have started enjoying making food at home. So, you can come up with a lot of varieties of how to make a healthy pizza. In fact, you can also make different kinds of stuff at home, which can actually suit your taste buds, but which is healthy. So those, a lot of options are there. So the idea is to cook together, eat along. So that is the whole idea. So no diet, no crash diet at your age.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I know the harmful effects of crash dieting, and from now on, I feel better to look chubby than go on a crash diet.
Thank you, Moksha. Ma'am, coming to my last question, the next meal which I'm very confused about is dinner. You may ask me, what is the confusion about? Do we put on weight if we have a heavy dinner?
Actually, that there is a correlation, yes, but then it depends on when are you sleeping, because when it is about being overweight, when it is being shooting up our weight beyond what we are supposed to be, it depends on a lot of other things, especially sleep. So when I'm talking of, you asked me about dinner, but then you also have to consider other factors. Coming back to dinner, as you had asked, you have to ensure, as I mentioned, see, I don't know if, I'm sure you would have heard it, right, in your homes about something called, there is a connection between your stomach and your tongue. Are you aware of it? There's a very special connection. Now, what
Yeah,
happened?
ma'am.
You have heard? So,
No, ma'am.
okay, so over the last few years, if you ask me, like about maybe 20-30 years, a lot of us, even today, I see a lot of youngsters, when they eat food, they sit in front of the television, or maybe they're looking at a tab, or maybe they're looking at the mobile, and that's how they're eating, right? So when you are mindlessly eating, matlab you're not focusing on what you're eating, you're not looking at the food that you're eating, you're not enjoying that moment. What happens is your body goes on to very different kind of a autopilot mode, and then you're seeing something and you're eating. You're not looking at your plate. So the connection between the tongue and the stomach is gone. So then you don't know how much you've had. Before you even look at it, while you're looking at your screens, your food is already over. So you rush and you get some more. Now the connection between your tongue and your stomach is such that, let me give you another example. You like sweets, Nihal? Do you like sweets, or what do you like?
Yeah, ma'am, I like sweets.
Which is a favorite sweet that you like?
Laddu, ma'am.
Laddu, very nice. You mean the motichur laddu?
What, ma'am?
Okay, so the laddu. So say, Nihal, if I give you one laddu, that's your first laddu, okay? And you like it. So you eat
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
Since you like it so much, if I give you a second one, you'll eat that as well, because it's something which you really like, right?
Yeah.
But I think if I give you a third one and a fourth one, will you be able to eat it?
No, ma'am.
Why is it that? Why is it that you cannot eat it then?
Ma'am, because our stomach will be filled.
Not just your stomach is full, by the time your third laddu has entered and you're actually chewing it in your mouth, your tongue will not find it that tasty as it had found the first laddu, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
So you're thinking, hey, why did I pick up the third one? Since I picked up, now I have to eat it completely. So although your tongue is telling you that, the taste is, it was not, it is, I mean, that it is tasty, but then for your own thing, your tongue is telling you, I think I've had enough of this sweet that you're having. So if by the time your tongue is telling and you heard it, that is what I call the connection between your tongue and your stomach. So every time you eat a meal, not just your dinner, whenever you eat a meal, while you're eating it, and if you're not eating it super fast, as if you're in a hurry, you're eating it, you're sitting for a while and you're looking at your plate and you're enjoying the moment and you're eating it, you will realize when to stop it. So there's nothing called a heavy dinner or heavy breakfast or a heavy lunch. Now, having said that, what you have to do is whenever you have dinner, make sure it is at least 3 hours before your sleep or at least 2 hours before your sleep. So say all of you are sleeping by 9 o'clock. What it means is you should have your dinner somewhere around by 7:30.
Okay, ma'am.
Before 7. So when it is done, by the time you are sleeping, your body is, it has to go to sleep. But then it is also, if you have had a heavy dinner and you're sleeping right away after that, your body is thinking, should I actually digest the food or should I actually take care of repair work inside the body or what should I do? So it has a lot of questions. So if you digest the food, all the blood rushes towards that. It stops the other activities, which is why we say make sure that, at least 2 hours or 3 hours before you sleep, make sure your dinner is done.
Yes, ma'am.
And make sure that you sleep well, sleep for a lot of hours. In fact, if you sleep around by 9 or 9:30, the best time is to wake up around by 6. That's a very good sleep for you. Do you also know that when you're sleeping, your body functions much better because your body is repairing itself when you're sleeping? So all the food that you ate, right, it is repairing itself. It uses all that to repair your body, which is why ample amount of sleep, sufficient amount of sleep is required.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you so much, ma'am, for being so patient and answering all our queries. It's been a lifetime experience, especially during this pandemic. With this, we come to a close. Thank you, viewers. We would meet again very soon with the next Samvad. Namaste. Bye. Take care.
Namaste, everyone. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.